Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. In today's video, we're going to go over some Obi Toppin trade destinations, as there's been a lot of rumors surrounding Obi Toppin. Reports came out last week from Ian Begley of SNY, where he said he could see Obi Toppin and the New York Knicks working on a trade to find him a bigger role. There was also a report that Obi Toppin and Tom Thibodeau got into a verbal altercation following Game 4 against the Miami Heat in the NBA Conference semifinals. So it just sounds like it's coming to an end for Obi in New York. So in this video, we're going to go through some trade destinations. Then on the tail end of the show, I'm going to take some questions from some subscribers. Before I give you my list of where I could see Obi Toppin being traded, I want to ask you, should the Knicks trade Obi? I just feel like, man, if Julius Randle is on this team, Obi is never going to get that role that he deserves and wants. Knicks didn't think Randle was going to be a two-time All-NBA player in the next 3 years after they drafted Obi. Maybe you can get something back that could help this team. What do you think? I'm conflicted, so help me out. Type K for keep, type T for trade. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So when you get hit with that YouTube ad break, let me know if the Knicks should trade Obi Toppin. I think the top trade destination for Toppin is the Indiana Pacers. There was a lot of smoke leading up to the NBA draft with the Pacers having 2 late first-round picks that they would be interested, but it kind of fell apart once the Pacers ended up trading with the Denver Nuggets and giving up one of those late first-round picks. But the Pacers were one of the teams that were very interested in Obi dating back to the 2023 NBA trade deadline. So if you showed interest then, you're still going to be interested in. They're still a young team. They're trying to build around Tyrese Halliburton. Maybe Obi Toppin could play the 4 alongside Miles Turner, and they could have a young up and down pace there in Indiana. Another team that I think could make some sense for Obi is the Los Angeles Clippers. And there's a couple reasons for this. They need to get younger, and they could use another young front court member. But remember, Marcus Morris initially was a part of that deal with the Boston Celtics and the Washington Wizards that would have landed Marcus Morris with the Wizards. That deal fell apart, and there were reports coming out that Marcus Morris was not happy with his role in LA, and he didn't want to be on that team anymore. So if the Clippers are looking for a Marcus Morris replacement, Obi Toppin could be that guy for LA. I think the Portland Trailblazers are a team to keep your eye on as well. They've met a fork in the road. Do you build with Dame? Do you trade Dame? And if you trade Damian Lillard and you try to go with the youth movement, I think Obi Toppin could be a guy they're looking at. He could be the Jeremy Grant replacement, as he has a kind of a funky little deal going on right now in free agency. If he leaves or the Trailblazers end up moving on from Grant, I could see Obi sliding in and being a replacement for him. I think the best on-court fit for Obi Toppin is the Sacramento Kings. The Kings were number 1 in pace of play last year, and they need more of an athletic power forward. It was Trey Lyles last year that was playing at that spot, and Obi, I just think, fits perfectly with the offense that the Kings want to run. They want to run up and down. They want to remind you that 7 seconds or less offense. And could you imagine De'Aaron Fox and Obi Toppin out on the break? I just think that would be a great spot for him. I would keep my eyes on the Sacramento Kings, as they are definitely looking to upgrade at that power forward spot. One of the last teams I want to talk about in today's show as a fit or potential fit for Obi Toppin is the Atlanta Hawks. Why? Because the Atlanta Hawks, they just traded John Collins, and they did not get anything back in return of substance. I believe they're going to want a power forward, and I think Obi fits in well with what the Hawks want to do. I think that they would be a good fit, and I think that it makes a lot of sense for them as well. Honorable mention teams for me are the Chicago Bulls and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I have the Bulls on there because I think if a Zach Levine trade ever materializes and he ends up going to the New York Knicks, Obi Toppin could be shipped out. And maybe if you do trade for Cat, Big Purr, who I don't want to make a move for at all, Obi Toppin could be going out as well. So 7 teams I think could be interested in an Obi Toppin trade. We're going to get to some questions and some answers for subscribers coming up in a second. But remember to subscribe to the channel, hit that sub button, and join us for our live NBA free agency coverage starting on Friday. Myself, Patrick Seaman, we're going to be live. We're going to be having a lot of fun. So come hang out with us and join us as we break down NBA free agency from every single angle. Alrighty, let's close out today's show taking questions from subscribers. My man CPJ came in with a $50 super chat. Salute, homie. Thank you. He says, give me your thoughts on the CAA versus Rich Paul clutch sport. So it goes back to when LeBron James used to be repped by Leon Rose in Worldwide West, but then he broke that off and ended up being repped by Rich Paul and really starting clutch sports. So there's definitely some bad blood there. There was a Zach Levine report that came out from Stephen Bondi that Zach Levine's camp didn't want him to go play for the Knicks. They didn't want to go deal with the Knicks. Supposedly they didn't like how the Cam Reddish situation ended up being handled. Look, it's bad blood between two guys that have a whole lot of money and that are very power hungry and have a lot of power. I don't know how much it's going to factor in down the line, but it may be the reason the Knicks don't get to trade for a clutch sports player that is repped by them. Also, OG and a newbie has left clutch sports. He's a guy that the Knicks have been interested in before in reports. They've checked in with him, so I'm keeping my eyes on him. CPJ, it's not a good situation, and it's not good for the NBA. Something needs to be done about this. But until then, we'll continue to monitor it. Thanks for the love, bro. As Fernando coming in with a $10 super chat says, go and get DiVincenzo and Bridges. I do think Dante DiVincenzo is a player the Knicks are extremely interested in. If DiVincenzo wants to be the Knicks, wants to be a Knick, I think the Knicks would be glad to have him. Miles Bridges, on the other hand, I don't know how actually likely that is. I don't actually ever see the Brooklyn Nets trading Bridges to the Knicks. I love to have it, and I would love to get the Villanova gang back together, Fernando. Thank you for the various, very, very, very generous contributions today, Fernando. You're a legend. My man Webb coming in with a $100 super chat. Shout out to him, bro. He says, fellas, what have you heard on the Cavs? Something come across with Wendy Sands. Yeah. So Brian Windhorst went on Cleveland ESPN radio and pretty much said he's heard some rumblings that some crazy stuff could be going down for the Cavaliers. Couldn't give any details. He told us just to check out social media, and we'll see what's going on. And the talk of the town has been Donovan Mitchell getting traded from the Cavs on Twitter. No reports, just rumors, but there's been a lot of smoke about Mitchell and the Cavs still. Mitchell and the Knicks still being extremely interested in him. I'm not taking my eyes off that situation. I want to ask this question before we get rolling any deeper into today's sack. Will the Knicks make a trade this offseason? There's a lot of people that have been saying the Knicks are going to make a trade. I've thought the Knicks were going to make a trade for quite some time. Right now, I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of run it back with the team and sign someone and then an NBA free agency with that mid-level exception. So comment for me down below. Will the Knicks make a trade this offseason? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. And one edits, my man. Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell? I think Devin Booker's the better player, and I would rather have Devin Booker on the New York Knicks. I, for so long, thought Devin Booker was going to be the Knicks' next trade target following Donovan Mitchell, but then the Suns traded for Kevin Durant, and then they got Bradley Beal. I will say this, though. If it doesn't work out in Phoenix, and Kevin Durant retires in 3 years, and Bradley Beal's gone in a couple of years, maybe they look to get back some of those assets, and maybe Devin Booker is the player that they trade. I love for Booker to be a Knick, man. One of my favorite players in this league. Tyler, what's up, homie? He says, would you rather trade for Levine or Paul George? I'd say Zach Levine, younger. I think he's 28 years old, whereas Paul George is 33 years old. And Levine has just been a much more reliable and available player. Over the last 5 seasons, Zach Levine has played in more than 85% of ball games, whereas Paul George hasn't played more than 60 games in a regular season in the past 4 years. So when you factor in age and injuries, I'm going to go with Zach Levine. I think Paul George would be the better on-court fit. I think he fits stylistically with the Knicks a little bit more, but I think Levine is more likely, and I think he has less risk than a guy like Paul George. But we go back to that Clutch Sports and CAA drama. It sounds like that the Clutch Sports representatives don't want to see Zach Levine be traded to the New York Knicks. So, I don't know. Tyler also sent in a $10 super chat and says, let's trade for Paul George. I'd love to, man. I just think that those talks kind of stalled. We did a video when a report came out from Begley that the Knicks were in talks with the Clippers, but I think it kind of just stopped right there. So I think that might be the end of the Paul George saga with the New York Knicks. Moves could still be made. Deals could still happen. And if the Knicks run it back and they sign Dante DiVincenzo, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Better to make a smart move than to make a dumb trade, is what I would say. We'll close out the show with this one from Johnson U. Do you think the Knicks will just add someone in free agency and run it back? Yeah. If I was a betting man right now, that would be my guess right there, Johnson, is that they're going to run it back, add someone free agency, maybe move Obi and Fournier, but come back with the same nucleus of Brunson, Barrett, Randall, and Mitchell Robinson, as well as Josh Hart. That would be my guess at this moment. As always, thank you. I appreciate you for tapping in with us here on Knicks Now and hanging out. Join us Friday, free agency, live coverage. We'll see you then.